Hi, I'm Elisa, and it's time to balance my books for the month of February. So February kicked off for me like it does every month with my Aardvark and Book of the Month subscriptions coming through and me ordering books. So first up, I ordered The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune, which was very exciting because I love TJ Klune, even though his last release did not work for me. I still find him incredibly comforting and just such a cozy, happy, atmospheric read. So when I saw this, I was super excited because I had no idea he had a release coming out this year. I have a whole list of 2025 releases that I am anticipating, and this was somehow not on there. I actually have no idea what this is. This says there's nothing more human than a broken heart. And I kind of don't want to know. I love TJ Klune's writing. I will buy or at least read everything that he writes, and this is no exception, so I was very excited when I saw this. So that is +1 on acquired books. So then I listened to The Age of Magical Overthinking, Notes on Modern Irrationality by Amanda Montell. I gave this 3 stars. This was fine. It kind of reads like a collection of essays put together with somewhat of a cohesive theme. She kind of talks about different psychology terms and then connects them to society, but mostly her own life. And that's fine. It kind of reads like an essay collection / memoir in that way, but that isn't what this was pitched as. So while it didn't offend me or, piss me off that it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, it was just a 3 because it really didn't do much for me. So I am happy that I didn't purchase this, and this was a library audiobook loan, but it was a 3. So then I picked up a book that was on my most anticipated of 2025, and that is Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. Very excited to see that this was a book of the month. I read Wrong Place, Wrong Time last year or the year before. If not last year, then right at the end of 2023, and I thought it was really cool. It didn't do as much for me as it did for other people, but it did make me want to read more Gillian McAllister. I feel like I own another one of her books. I think I definitely do. Maybe I don't. Maybe I could be totally wrong, getting her mixed up with somebody else. However, don't know what this one's about either. Don't really want to. About a new mother whose world is upended when her husband commits a terrifying crime. How well does she truly know the man she loves, and what danger does she face if her entire life has been built on a lie? Okay, I'm excited. She did very interesting things in Wrong Place, Wrong Time, so I am intrigued to see if this is a little bit like Wrong Place, Wrong Time, or if it's just a true traditional thriller. We'll see. I am excited to get into this. So then I read Slow Productivity, The Lost Art of Accomplishment Without Burnout by Cal Newport. I know he has written many books about kind of work-life balance and productivity, deep work, things like that. This just felt really not actionable. If you don't work for yourself, if you don't work in a creative sphere, if you're not like a freelancer, if you have anybody managing you, this did not feel at all accessible. So that was a little discouraging. I think he says it at some point where it's like, if you work in an office every day, this probably won't help you. And that's not how it's pitched. So for him to keep talking about like people who work in like the knowledge sector, like knowledge work and things like that, and in reality he means creativity, and he means, writers and freelancers and, people in that sector who do have more control over their schedules and their productivity levels and how they handle projects and what projects they take and what they don't. If you work a 9 to 5 where you have a boss that's telling you what to do, this is not an actionable book for you. So that was disappointing for me. I feel like some of the ideas could be brought into what I do day to day. Most of them could not. So I gave it a 2. So the third and final book of the month I got was Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao. I actually don't really know what this is about. I believe it's a fantasy. I was super drawn in by the cover, first of all. It's gorgeous. I had also heard Books and Lala mention it a couple times, and the discussions on the Book of the Month Facebook pages kind of drew me in. It says a woman inherits a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets and then embarks on a magical journey when a charming young physicist wanders into the shop in this dreamlike and enchanting fantasy novel. This sounds kind of cozy and just like beautiful and atmospheric. I have no idea, but I am excited to jump in. And then I read The Ministry of Time, and this took me so long. I'm trying to remember exactly. Yeah, this took me 3 weeks, maybe longer to read, which is crazy. This was something that I was super excited for. I had read reviews, I had read the synopsis, and when I had picked it probably like 6 months ago, I was like, yes, this is incredible. This is definitely gonna be like a Goodreads choice, and it was. It wasn't on the Book of the Month Lolly shortlist, but I was convinced that it was. I was just like, this sounds amazing. It basically deals with time travel and the UK government's agency that they establish in order to deal with the people that they have pulled from the past. And you're reading from a narrator who is directly telling you that they made mistakes and that they have regrets. So you have a lot of foreshadowing going on from her perspective, and it was really an interesting premise, but in practice, it just could not hold my attention. I just found it so difficult to get through. I try to read about 50 pages of fiction every day, and it was hard to get past 30 sometimes. Like, I just felt like it was such a slog, and I don't really know why I felt like that. It just felt like a chore to read. So I did give it a 3. It didn't like offend me. I just was fighting a reading slump the whole time, and that is never a good feeling. So I have decluttered it. I've already sold it. It's gone. But you know, didn't love it. From Aardvark, I picked up Death of the Author by Needy Okorafor. I read through all of the hints and things. I'm part of the Facebook groups where they try to guess all of the aardvark hints, and people were talking about this one, and it just sounded really interesting. It's about a disabled Nigerian American woman pens a wildly successful sci-fi novel, but as her fame rises, she loses control of the narrative. A surprisingly cutting yet heartfelt drama about art and love, identity and connection, and ultimately what makes us human. This is a story unlike anything you've read before. I have picked up a lot of different reads from Aardvark, and some go better than others. I am hoping this one goes well. I know very little, and as you know, that's how I like it. I then listened to Ankle Snatcher by Grady Hendrix. This is part of the Amazon Audible collection of short stories that are all horror related. This one was fun. This one's a lot more like classic horror, I would say, than some of them. This deals with a boy whose mother was killed, seemingly, by his father, and him maybe finding some things out and dealing with things of his own. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. It was a quick, like an hour listen. I gave it a 3. I probably would give it a 4 in retrospect, but in the moment I gave it a 3. And yeah, it kind of just reads like classic fun horror, and I had a good time with it. And as you can tell, I am reading some shorter books throughout the month. I think it helps break up my reading. I still have the goal that I want to read longer stuff and focus more on quality than length. However, the short little audiobooks are really fun. Like the fact that if I put it on like 1.5, sometimes I can finish a whole audiobook before I get to work, and that just feels really good. Next up from Aardvark, I got Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. This is a horror. I don't know much as always, a rich and daring reimagining that brings the beating heart of Carmilla to life again. My gosh. Hungerstone is a delicious tribute to the inherent horrors of womanhood and the desperate and exquisite vulgarity of desire. I'm in. I kind of love gothic horror. I think it's just kind of fun, and I don't know, I just love the vibes of it and the atmosphere of it. So I'm hoping that's what this is gonna give. I was gonna read this month and then ran out of time. So hopefully sometime soon. I then listened to Bloody Summer by Carmen Maria Machado, yet again, part of the horror collection from Audible. This was short. This read like an academic paper, kind of about it was about a town that has some hand games, some clapping games that deal with tigers, and some experiences that this town has had with tigers. It was fine. I didn't find it all that scary, or I don't want to say not intriguing, but it just didn't grab me quite as much as Ankle Snatcher did. So I did give it the same rating as Ankle Snatcher in the end, but probably looking back, I should give Ankle Snatcher a higher rating for sure. And then the last book that I picked up from Aardvark, this is Junie by Erin Crosby Eckstein. Am I gonna tell you that I bought this because my cat's name is Juniper and I call her Junie? A little bit. But the premise also sounded interesting. A young girl must face a life-altering decision after awakening her sister's ghosts, navigating truths about love, friendship, and power as the Civil War looms. This just sounded really cool. I have talked about my issues with historical fiction in the past, but this sounds like there's a pretty cool twist on that. So that's what I'm hoping for, and I'm hoping to read it quickly. Well, not quickly. Read it soon and enjoy it. And then I read Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I checked this out of the library and I actually had my fiance return it for me today because it was overdue. Did I finish this? Yes, I finished this on the plane to Vail, and my plan had been to finish it before going on this trip. Did not do that, but I did finish it on the plane, or no, not even on the plane. I was in Vail when I finished it. And I really liked this. Grady Hendrix can be kind of hit or miss for me. I hated How to Sell a Haunted House, but I really liked the Final Girl support group, and I think I read Horror Store, and that was fine. Kind of hit or miss for me. This worked for me. I do understand people's issues with it. I feel like I've heard people say that there's not enough witchcraft in it. I would agree, but then there's a part of me that didn't really care because the amount that was in there was enough for me. This is about our main character, Fern, I believe, yeah, Fern, who is a 15-year-old pregnant girl whose father drops her off at this house for wayward girls, and she meets a librarian who gives her a book about witchcraft, and she and her friends start experimenting and get sucked in to some pretty fucked up stuff. As normal with Grady Hendrix, this is pretty graphic. I did appreciate, however, that the graphic content wasn't just around like harming others or harming yourself. It was about labor and how graphic and intense labor could be, and it does a good job of contrasting different labor experiences. I liked it. I know there are some reviews being like, I'm not sure why a white guy decided to write a book about pregnant girls. I get that. However, it worked for me. I had fun with it. And when I was reading it, I was just flying through it. I just had a lot of fun with it. 4 stars. And then the last book I read in the month of February, I listened to the Village Library Demon Hunting Society by C.M. Waggoner. I gave this a 3. Looking back, it probably needs to be a 2. I started this back in January. It got taken from me from the library before I could finish it. And I finished it in Vail, and it feels like an acid trip, but like not in a fun way. It is about a librarian who begins to investigate all these murders that are happening in her town, and she relates it, or she figures out that maybe all these murders are happening because of demons. was so strange. And I like strange, but this was like cozy, or like trying to be cozy strange, and I just did not appreciate it. It just didn't work for me. I just gave it a 2 because it didn't do much for me. I found it really hard to want to listen to it. I slogged through it and I just didn't love it. And the last thing we need to talk about is the fact that I did not manage to start nor complete See Me by Nicholas Sparks, which is the oldest book on my TBR that I promised, if I did not read this month, had to be decluttered. So that's what I'm gonna do. I am decluttering See Me by Nicholas Sparks. I have already checked, and the audiobook for this is available at my library, which means if I am so inclined, I can listen to it there. I don't like reading romance physically, so this was just never something I was called to read. That's fine. It's leaving my life. And that means that I bought 6 books and read 8 books in the month of February. Were 2 of those extremely short audiobooks? Yes, but they count. So I do not have to do anything next month. There is not a book that I have to read, and there's no books that I need to declutter other than what I just obviously decluttered. So I am proud of that. I'm hoping March is a better reading month as far as quality. I did not get a 5-star in the month of February. I would love a 5-star in March. I think the books that I am looking forward to reading should hopefully deliver a 5-star. We will see. I have not finished Atomic Habits, unfortunately. I am hoping, yet again, to read that and finish that this month, but we will see what happens. But thank you so much for watching. Comment down below the favorite book you read last month. I would love to know about it. But thanks so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all the normal stuff, and I will see you guys again really soon. Bye.